And welcome back to another edition of the Change My Mind podcast.
I won't change my mind because I don't have to, because I'm an American.
Yes, you are, and I'm Wesley Sykes, and through the other side of the ether is the Stephen Strange to my Baron Caramordo. It's Mr. Nicholas J. Esquire, Sorcerer Supreme, Multiverse Surfer for Hire.
So my question to you with that one is, who's
I've
the
always
good guy?
wanted dreads.
That's
why, yeah.
Okay. Wow. Okay. There you go. That's it. As simple as that. Nothing to do with good guy, bad guy perspective. None of that. You just
No.
dreads.
Just always wanted dreads. This is a good excuse for it here.
I got a little salt and pepper going. It's you can't see it right now, but it's like, it's getting there, starting.
Yeah, we all got it. My wife likes to point out all my gray hairs. It's nice. It's seasoning. Salt and pepper.
I got no shame whatsoever.
Yeah, you shouldn't. You should embrace it. Don't do the just for men stuff. Don't color it. Just go with it.
Mm-hmm, I agree. Yes.
Speaking of going with it, this week we are dusting off an old topic to connect movie and television universes in a game we like to call Multiverse Madness. You have to go actually way back in the archives to episode 83. We're on, as a crow flies, episode 254 now. So you go way back in the machine, 2020, almost 4 years, to go back and find that episode here. But we're bringing it back to life this week.
I couldn't believe it when you told me that it was in the double digit range. I knew it was before Multiverse of Madness, like Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. But other than that, I was like 83. Like didn't make any sense to me whatsoever. So yeah, this is kind of wild. But this is also one of the we've only done it once, and I really like this idea because this is a thing that not only you and I will do from time to time, just as we're talking about movies or whatever, but the other guys in the DSG do, and I know like other friends that I have will do this, where it's like I'm just big on I see somebody in the movie, where else have I seen that actor or actress from, and then I connect the dots, and then sometimes it's like, well, this guy could also be that guy, and so on and so forth.
We all got creative brains here,
Try to.
So that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be connecting different television and movie universes here, and kind of filling in the blanks along the way. We're having a little bit of fun on a Monday afternoon. Well, Monday evening, Monday night, let's say.
Either way,
I'll pick it out. I'll get it one of these times.
I trust you.
Have I asked you on here your thoughts on Taylor Swift? Of course she's going to the Super Bowl,
She is going to the Super Bowl. That is correct. Yeah, I am disappointed it's not Eminem versus Taylor Swift Super Bowl. That would have been
I know. Yeah. We could have got an epic rap battle there.
That's it. It's a little disappointing, but you've never asked me, and I mean, like, I guess when it comes to her music, like, obviously a very talented songwriter. Definitely, like, it's good. It's like she's good. Like, but I have more respect.
She makes quality music. Yeah,
she does. It's not like my favorite. Never been like, I think Anti-Hero I love, but other than that, like, it just doesn't scratch that itch for me. But at the same time, like, I can't not respect. I have to respect. I don't know how else to put it. I have to respect like everything she's done and how much she's like how successful she's been. She's otherworldly.
You say respect. This is kind of sounding like fear out of potential backlash for speaking your real feelings from the Swifties, the Taylor Swift army here.
No, I can have respect for her success that she's had because it's undeniable. And also, I will say too, so I know she has her army that backs her, but at the same time, like. The backlash that she tends to get too, like even with the stuff that's going on with football, which is like it's small potatoes. I feel like the complaining that she gets, but it's still like she doesn't seem to phase her at all.
Well, she actually seems to be getting sick of it. What was making rounds this Sunday was they were or I guess it was Saturday. Whenever the game was, they were showing her on the big screen or on the telecast, and she was looking at the TV broadcast from the booth, and she's like, "Go away, please." This is the power of Taylor Swift. The camera pans away after she says it. They listened like that at a drop of a hat.
Yeah, it's crazy how much they do it. Like
the NFL stuff, it feels. I don't know if it's manufactured is the right word, but it feels like it's definitely pushing us. The marketing of it all. Some people will say like, "Oh, this is like a made-up relationship between her and Taylor Swift." I don't know if that's entirely true, but it feels like there is a strong concerted partnership between Taylor Swift and the NFL right now.
I hear you. I do think that there's a level of I don't know if manufacturing is the word, but fortunate, and that's on the NFL side,
Yeah,
1,000%. I only feel
for
like the
sure.
NFL is like that because but I've always kind of felt like the NFL has a tendency to do that kind of stuff where they force things. They want any good narrative that they can get. They want it. They want to ride that wave 100%. So for me, it's all about that. I don't just need this.
Yeah, and I think that's where it like where people get a little bored of it or sick of it, or they get the eye roll that like Al Michaels says Taylor Swift every time she's they're covering a Chiefs game, and all that type of stuff. The amount of times that they all have to cue back to her, then social media goes crazy. It's not like I feel like from my perspective, it's not necessarily the person of Taylor Swift, but the idea of Taylor Swift and how she overtakes all of social media with her power, you know what I mean, or the media landscape.
Yeah,
and it's like you're just kind of sick of everyone else talking about Taylor Swift, which is
and
what we're doing right now, actually.
Exactly. Yes, it's ironic, I guess. But yeah, I mean, that's my thing. It's just like it feels like it's the NFL that's pushing all that, and it's just in our face more than it ever has been. And I don't know, like if that'll always be the case so long as they're together. But I would think it'd eventually die down next season.
The moment that relationship ends is the moment that the NFL dies. They go bankrupt. The Swift are going to dig up some dirt on Roger Goodell or Jerry Jones or Robert Kraft or any of the power players in the NFL, and they'll be like, no, this is over. We got to shut this thing down.
That would be something.
Could be, yeah. But now we got 2 more weeks of this. So I guess for those of you who have had enough of it, just strap in.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say the thing is, like, I have like an opinion, but at the same time, so I'm like, all right, like whatever. Like,
yeah. That's
like,
kind of how I am in general about her music too. Like her music's fine. I'll never go out of my way to play it. She has some catchy tunes. She's obviously a very talented artist. I love the fact that she re-recorded all of her albums to screw over her former record label. That's a real boss move. I love that.
Yeah.
But like, I'll never be like, oh, you know what? Let's put on some Taylor Swift.
Yeah, that's fair. But I agree. Like, that's what I mean when I say like, how can you not respect her? Because like that's the number one thing for me. Like it's just unbelievably impressive.
Well, you know what's always impressive, Nick? It's the comic book minute.
Oh wow.
A superb choice.
What do we got?
Someone's feeling very, very generous tonight. So this week, speaking of musicians invading other spaces, we have Moon Man issue 1 from Image. This is written by Kyle Higgins, who we've talked about multiple times. He's one of the creators, the godfather of the Massiverse, and also written by Kid Cudi.
Moon Man. Okay, I got you.
So a solid, strong first issue. I went into this. I mean, obviously, I trust Kyle Higgins because he's a very good writer. But at the same time, I was like, I just don't know what to expect. But it's basically we got this astronaut who's part of another company that is not NASA, goes off into space, finally comes back. There's a lot of controversy surrounding it and in questions. And maybe some like conspiracy theory type things going on. All just like breadcrumbs kind of left out there. And then one of the larger things that happen is we find out that there's something going on with this astronaut who we're focusing on that he has no idea about, and it's going to be a game changer for him. Good or bad is unclear. So it was a really strong first issue. I was okay. This could be cool, but I don't know, and I was impressed. Then we go over to Marvel. We got the first issue of Dead X-Men as we get the Fall of X. But the real big thing that I'm most excited for this week, I have not got a chance to check this out. Wolverine issue 42. This is the second issue of the Sabretooth War. The first issue was absolutely batshit crazy, ridiculously violent. Had a warning on note on the book, and I don't have it in front of me right now, but it was like a parental warning.
Okay.
It said like the most violent book, like Marvel book or Wolverine story ever, but then there was like a legitimate warning, like this is not for kids. So for those who want those, like, a grisly Wolverine story, this is it right here. This is only the second issue, so make sure you get in on it. Then we also have for TLDR this week, we're doing Green Arrow Year 1 and some more X-Men stuff, Dark X-Men.
Dark X. Okay, all right, that's good stuff there. That's good stuff. Always love the comic book minute. But let's get into. Are you ready for the main topic?
I am.
Tommy, are you ready for the main topic? Okay. We had to call him. He was a little further away. Now he's ready.
Now let's go get him.
Yeah.
Slacker.
Okay. All right. Awesome. Yeah. All right. So the main topic, Multiverse Madness, Part 2 here. So Nick and I, we're going to go back and forth. We have a couple of scenarios, a couple of actors, a couple of movies that we put together, and then we're going to try to connect the dots to see if we make them usable and like a real movie, almost like a movie pitch. At least that's how I kind of approached it.
Yeah, when we did this last time, we both kind of had slightly different ways that we were doing it. Yours seemed to be more combining of forces. Mine are more these two characters played by the same actor are actually the same person. That's
Gotcha.
where we handle it a little differently. So
Okay, I think I got this though. I got a couple of those in there.
Okay, so there we go. So we'll see how this all unfolds. So for me, I'm going to start off with Lee Evans, and that name may not be too familiar, especially if you're a younger listener. But
maybe a Buffalo Bills fan.
Yeah.
Wow. University of Wisconsin alum Lee Evans.
Wow. Well, so I'm going to take us back to 1997, where we get this story of the Schmuntzes, focusing on Lars Schmuntz. He's had a very difficult life after toiling away for years by himself at the family string factory. He and his brother, Ernie, were outwitted by a mouse. Although the mouse saved the Schmuntz family factory by helping them pivot from the string business to the string cheese business, the experience was too much for Lars. So following his divorce from, I believe her name was Hilda, which is the model that he fell in love with at the end of the Mousetrap story, and the business going under with the rise of other milk types beyond dairy, Lars had a mental breakdown. He lost everything. So he did what anyone who has nothing left would do. He moved to Florida and became a pizza guy, going under the name of Norm Phipps, until one day, Wes, he met a woman by the name of Mary Jensen, to whom he introduced himself as Tucker, an architect.
So my problem here is I want to like this. I have no idea about the first movie. I know it's something about Mary. So I just had some of it. I like the string cheese from a string business to a string cheese. I like that. That's good pivoting. But I don't know any of the details from the movie.
This is the one more than any other, I think, that I was worried about that for you. But basically, the mouse, they inherit the family business from their dad who passed away, and they also inherit like the family mansion. There is a mouse in there that they're trying to get rid of, and he is creating all kinds of havoc for them, and they cannot seem to kill him, no matter what they do, and they end up destroying the house in the process.
Real Tom and Jerry situation. Gotcha.
Basically, that's
also supermodel named Hilda. How many supermodels do you think are named Hilda? Maybe let's open this up a little bit. How many attractive women do you think are named Hilda?
Maybe just this one. But even then, it's not the actress's name, so I don't know.
That's true. But I'm just thinking out loud here, you know?
Oh, yeah, maybe 3? I don't know.
Maybe, okay. I'm going to go over. Hit the over on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so that's Lee Evans.
Okay. I like Tucker. Big fan of Tucker because then he's just furthering the lie a little bit further.
Yeah,
furthering the lie a little bit further there.
And that was
Norm Phillips, and then he's the paraplegic.
That was kind of my thought process and all. So basically, everybody, the TLDR version of this is Lars Schmuntz is Norm Phipps, who is Tucker from Something About Mary.
Okay, I'll go with my first one here. This was I kind of dipped my toe in here. I was kind of trying to feel things out. I feel like I kind of hit my stride a little later on, but okay. So after an impressive performance with the Top Gun flight unit and Top Gun Maverick, but he's still too much of a renegade for the Navy there. Tom Cruise, our guy, TC, gets transferred to MI6. They don't really fire anyone in the military. They just say, hey, we're gonna move you over here a little bit. Yeah. Where he can operate between the gray area and push the limits to serve the country in the only way he knows how.
I can see that.
Right. I think that's a very easy one, though. You know.
But Ethan Hunt is Maverick.
Yeah, Ethan Hunt is Maverick. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think that's a very. I think that's when people talk about being typecast. It's like, well, as much as he's a superstar,
It's the same one.
yeah, you can make that argument for
And then
sure.
maybe I go even one step further. Then we bring in Ben Stiller from the MTV Movie Awards. I don't know if you'll get this reference here, but that is he is so deep undercover that he has a body double of Ben Stiller who just mimics everything that Tom Cruise does. There's this great sketch between him and Ben Stiller. They both had the long hair. They're in the black T-shirt. They got the glasses on. It's like right around the time that Mission Impossible 3 came out, and they did like almost like a spitting. They like imitated each other's laugh. It was awesome.
Huh.
Give that a YouTube for
Okay. I will. Yeah. That's, I don't know that one, but that's that. Okay. I also, in the course of this, I will save this for if we ever do this again. I may tell you afterwards though, but I thought of another Top Gun related one that could be used.
Hit me with it. We're talking about it right now. We're doing it now.
All right. Fair enough. So we know in Top Gun Maverick that Tom Cruise, that Maverick, excuse me, had been not allowing Goose's son, and I'm blanking on his name in the movie, but obviously Miles Teller. We
Rooster.
Rooster. We know that he'd not been letting Rooster advance in the military, and I don't think he could even get into the academy originally. Was the problem that he ran into. So what did Miles Teller's Rooster do until he was able to get into the military?
He learned the drums.
Bingo!
Oh, I love it.
Yes, look at that.
Oh, that's great.
Yes, honestly,
all his aggression out in the percussion. I like it.
That may be the best one that we get today. Quite honestly.
that's pretty good. That's pretty good. All right, you're going back to back now. What's the next one you got after that?
All right, so all right, Anna Paquin, who I think we all know. Actually, you either know her for one role or the other. I don't know what else she's been in besides X-Men and the other title that I'll mention a little bit later on. But at the tail end,
Fly Away Home. Huh?
Is that you serious? Is that a thing?
I think that's a real movie. Yeah, keep going. I'll double check that.
Okay, I trust you. At the tail end of the first butchering of the Dark Phoenix saga on the big screen, so too came to the end of the biggest hack job. I'm not talking about that sentence I just made, but the biggest hack job of a Marvel character that has ever appeared on the big screen. Anna Marie, aka Rogue, one of the best X-Men in both the comics and TV shows, elected to take the mutant cure, quote unquote cure, so she could be with Bobby Drake, aka Iceman. Not even her real man, Remy LeBeau, but that's another conversation. But much like Fox's painful run with Marvel's best property, their love would not last. While Bobby remained a superhero, but may have undergone changes of his own, a conversation for another day, Lamplight. Anna Marie moved back to her home of Bontemps, Louisiana. Why did I say Indiana? Where she could no longer go by her alias or her superhero moniker. To ensure a quiet lifestyle as Sucky Stackhouse, she took a job of waitressing. But as her power began to return in a new form, she couldn't help but draw the attention of a group of monsters that would bring her far more anguish than she could have imagined.
See, I like this just because of the vampire power, the vampire and the mutant power there. That seems like an obvious crossover. Something goes wrong, the mutation comes back and it's mutated even more. But more importantly, the Louisiana, the setting of it all. That's perfect.
Yeah, it worked out. It's again, this is like a strange one that like worked out very well. I don't know. Like I didn't. She was like the last one of like not counting the Miles Teller one because that was on the spot, obviously. But that was the last one that I thought of this group, and it's like I don't know how I never thought of it before.
That's pretty good. Sucky Stackhouse.
Yes,
that's a porn star name, right?
For real,
they didn't even try to make it not sound like a porn star name.
All the boys love her in the show at least.
Yeah. Oh yeah. She's very attractive. She was in Fly Away Home, by the way. It was a movie with Jeff Daniels where they help a flock of geese migrate home.
Oh, okay. There you go. And by the way,
the villain was maybe climate change. I'm not sure.
There's another one to at least one other one of like these Multiverse of Madness is to be done in True Blood. I wouldn't do it probably, but it would be with Alexander Skarsgård's character. I'm blanking on his name right now. I think it's Eric Northman. He is the Northman in the movie from a couple years back.
Oh yeah, and his last name is Eric Northman in the show. Oh
yeah, I forgot
man.
about that till now.
Whoa, that's two on the nose. They got to try a little bit harder here.
I know, but what do you got for me?
That's pretty good. Okay, so this is I'm going to go to the TV universe here.
Ooh.
We have Andy Dwyer from Parks and Recreation, of course. Chris Pine. No. Oh man, what? Chris Pratt gets a janitorial role at Dunder Mifflin Stamford. Okay, Stamford, to follow his girlfriend Karen, who is Ann Perkins, Rashida Jones. And then when that store closes down, all of the love affairs kind of come under one roof at the Dunder Mifflin Scranton house. Because then you got, I guess this is a love box, a love star. Because when you have Andy, Ann, Karen, Jim, and Pam, and then also Roy in the picture, all kind of figuring out who wants who. And then this essentially can break down into a porno.
Yeah.
People are just swapping back and forth. This is on the mind here.
Yeah.
Sookie Stackhouse. Switching back and forth, changing partners, throw some pineapples in the mix. Maybe we can even have Michael Scott in there in the corner watching. I don't know. That could happen.
I think this is actually a pentagon, is what this becomes.
The Pentagon. There we go. Yeah, that's true. That's true. But then everything kind of comes to, calms down when Jim and Andy unite in their love for pranking Dwight.
There you go.
Because that would happen, right?
Oh yeah.
Andy would immediately be obsessed with Jim and his cool pranks.
He would, but would he mess up a lot of Jim's pranks? I think he would.
Oh, he would. That's a good point.
Yeah, that's a whole other riff though you could explore. But my big question coming out of this, because I love this idea, it makes perfect sense, too much sense, honestly. With Ann Perkins / Karen, of course, Rashida Jones, where she's the connective tissue and all this, which one is she really? Did she change her name from Karen to Ann Perkins to get away in a different point in her life? Or did she change her name from Ann Perkins to Karen to get away from Andy Dwyer and Chris Traeger?
Yeah, that's a good question there. I would like to say that they relocated for the job and her middle name is Karen. It's Ann Karen Perkins. And she's like, you know what? I'm just going to try this out for a little bit and see where it goes.
Okay.
New place, new me.
Yeah. Okay. I like that. That makes that's a lot more wholesome too. I would
say. My friends call me Karen.
Yeah. There you go.
Although that's tough. Yeah, that's immediately, my mom's friend is named Karen, and it's awful. She's a very sweet lady.
These days it's tough. Back then,
I know.
I think it was before that started, right? Well, Office.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think you're right about that. But it's still, it's just like, Karen. That's
not exactly the most beloved character in Office fandom.
Oh
right?
no, you're right. Very, very bland. Actually, lives up to the Karen name. Kind of bland.
Oh, there you go. But yeah, I like that one a lot. That one is that's
on the tickler file. Yeah.
All right, so I am going to bring us back to movies, and I'm going to go with Carl Urban. That is my Australian accent, which is obviously great.
Pretty good.
Okay. Anyways, Operation Treadstone produced some remarkable assassins, hitmen, hitwomen, what have you. While none was able to best a one Jason Bourne, who proved he was the best of their bunch when Kirill, I think is how you say it, was brought in to take down Bourne. He pushed Treadstone's rogue to the brink. Bourne reigned supreme in the end, though, but he did not finish the job, Wes.
Okay.
Despite massive blood loss and serious injuries in a car crash when fighting Bourne, Kirill was scooped up later by Treadstone, which would later take on other names. After Treadstone, it was Blackbriar. Fast forward all the way to the year 2080, and we find out Treadstone's soldiers are simply known as judges. And Kirill, after years of preservation and enhancement of his already impressive abilities, has emerged from the shadows and taken on a name that strikes fear into the hearts of all who hear it. Dread.
Pretty good. This is pretty solid. Now, what I will say, the fast forward, that does a lot of the lifting for you there.
That is true. That's fair. You could argue that the Anna Paquin one is better than this one. That's fair. I just seemed like it made so much sense though to me, like from because Dread is like as much as it's grounded, it's still set in the future. You would think technology, crazy advancements, and then while the Bourne movies are grounded as well, when you look at how amazing these guys are from a assassin fighting capability, it doesn't seem like a stretch for him to become that at some point. All it is that's holding me back is the time. So
that's
very
true.
the other way.
I think we can do that. I think we can make that work, though. There's ways to do that. I would greenlight this film.
Thank you.
Maybe not for a full length featured film in the cinema, but definitely on a streaming service.
Okay, okay. I maybe I don't know. Maybe it doesn't have the legs of a show, but anyways, what do you got?
Show? Yeah, okay. I am gonna go with which one? Which one do I want here? Okay, we'll go with this one here because I think it's gonna follow up nicely with what you got next. So unhappy with his role in his life as a Blade Runner. Stuck in this downtrodden, depressive universe, Officer K, Ryan Gosling, decides to take a little vacation. He needs to let off some steam. He needs some fun in the sun. So he goes to Barbie Land, loves it so much he decides to never go back. He goes under the pseudonym Ken, falls in love with a plastic broad, which is actually something very similar to what he does in Blade Runner 2049. He's in love with an artificial woman, an artificial love, fake love, if you will.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
But, as everything kind of unfolds, his, for lack of a better term, toxic masculinity takes over. And he's like, I got to make this world mine. I can't just live in it anymore. It's got to be my world. And then he finds out he's Knuff. And then he gets nominated for an Oscar.
Yeah, that's yeah. Funny how that all works. But yeah, honestly, this makes perfect sense. Like if he goes there for long enough, he just hangs out and just forgets.
He's like, why would I ever go back to that place? That place is wet. I got to wear trench coats all the time.
And then it would explain too how like when he gets back into the real world, it's like everything is unlocked. Holy shit! Look at what happened. This is unbelievable. And now I'm going to go
rushed back into it. Yeah.
Yep. And now I'm going to make it better. But now I can control how everything goes and make it better, quote unquote, better for myself. So yeah, I could see this working.
Okay. All right. There we go. There's a streaming service.
The only issue is time. That is the only thing again that we're running.
He's going back in time. Yeah.
Yes.
Or does time stand still in Barbie Land?
Ooh,
they do the same thing over and over again.
Wow. I think we need to talk to the people need to talk to Mattel and say, let's run this back, but except let's set it futuristic. So then it can be for sure all the same guy. And then you're all set.
And then make sure that we have an astrophysicist on set just to make sure that the timeline works.
100%. Yes. And then if it doesn't work, don't let facts get in the way of a good story. Like you always said.
That's right. Carl Sagan. Get the son of Carl Sagan on set here.
I was actually visiting my in-laws, and I think I used that line on my sister-in-law. It said, like, don't let facts get in the way of a good story. What are you doing?
Journalism rule 101.
Yeah, exactly.
Which, just as a side note, have you ever heard of this Kevin Cullen guy from the Boston Globe?
Yeah.
And he was like exposed for like the marathon stuff on the old Kirk and Callahan show on EEI.
Yeah, what happened?
So he wrote a front page Sunday feature for the Boston Globe. He's now like covering like Vermont stories. He's been relegated to the northwest part of New England as far as the Boston Globe coverage goes. But it was about someone from Massachusetts who had terminal cancer and wanted physician-assisted suicide, euthanasia. This is a complete derailment, but it's crazy. And so she goes up to Vermont where that's legal. It's not legal in Massachusetts. So she does that. But in order to get it done, you need two people who are not family members or who don't have any like financial compensation or anything to be witnesses to sign off on it. So Cullen and the photojournalist who is covering this story for like months at a time signs the letter, effectively writing his own ending of the story because he just agreed to like have her die. And as he's covering a story about euthanasia, physician-assisted suicide, whatever. And they published the story, And there is like a 4-paragraph editor's note that says that there was an internal investigation, that we're aware of this, that he regrets the decision. We know this is in violation of our ethics, but nevertheless, this is a great story, so read it anyway. Isn't that wild?
That is one of the most wild things I've ever heard.
Like, talk about like inserting yourself in the story.
Yeah, I mean,
that's like you
mind-blowing.
want the Red Sox to win a World Series, so you insert yourself into the 9th inning and close the game out to ensure that they win. You know what I mean?
I mean, yeah, that's one of the maybe the wildest journalistic story I've ever heard. Like,
it's great. Yeah, it's wild. Yeah. The Herald had a piece about it, and when like the Herald is like the bastion of sanity and like ethics and everything. That's like they're like kind of a rag.
I feel like
kind of a tabloid. Rag might be a strong word.
I feel like written newspapers, newspapers themselves like don't tend to go after each other like that anymore. Like that may have been a thing.
I think the Globe and the Herald, I think they still throw punches. Yeah.
That's just wow. I was also in the Herald once, so watch it. But yeah,
I've been in both.
That's
been
crazy.
In both. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. You have been in the Globe too. That's right.
Yeah.
Right. I forgot. Yes. Okay. I didn't know about the Herald though, but we can talk about that more later. But that's crazy. That is honestly, that's probably the craziest story I've ever heard from like the journalism space. Just
absolutely wild
in general. Wow. Well,
but let's get us back on track here. I was, talking about Blade Runner 2049 and Barbie, but your next one also involves one of those two properties.
It's not going to top our side rant, I'll tell you that right now. But this could still make a good movie. I'm interested more in this, what we talked about now as being a movie. But yes, so you talked about Ken. I'm going to talk about Margot Robbie, because last year Barbie took the big screen and dominated. But so many people have been wondering how such an amazing movie was put together when all there was to go off it was a doll. Was it Greta Gerwig's incredible vision? Maybe it was Margot Robbie's devotion to the project. The Academy would have you think Ryan Gosling is why Barbie did so well. None of that's the case. Barbie was an origin movie, but not for who everybody would think it is. For none other than Harley Quinn. Take it one step further. This is where James Gunn's new DC movie universe begins. And here's my little synopsis pitch for that, Wes. After years away from Barbie Land, Barbie is feeling the ridiculous weight of the real world. Despite all her hard work and consideration, she can't help but miss her home, except now she can't go back, which has led her down a dark, desperate path. So that's the sequel, I should say, to Barbie.
See, I think we can even go a little more meta here and play on the Barbie, the Academy Award snub, and Harley Quinn. If we could take it one step further, is that she is now in the real world, right? She kind of ends the movie. She goes back to Barbie Land, but she's aware of the real world.
So she's in the real world at the end of it all.
At the end, okay, all right, so even better. So she gets snubbed for the award of the movie that came out of her life, which then sent her in such of a spiral. Also, with Greta Gerwig getting snubbed as well, that then she is so jaded by life that she's suddenly doesn't care. And with this plastic body of her, she can't die. There's no real consequences for her reactions, her actions, I should say. So she's just going out causing shit and knowing that nothing's going to stick to her.
If they could find a way to get that meta, that would be amazing. Honestly, I could see, we're joking and just having fun here, but I could see James Gunn, if like Margot Robbie was to stay on with Harley Quinn and stay in the universe, which I think she has, if she wants to, I think the door is open for that.
I think so.
If that was the case, I could see James Gunn just doing a little wink in the nod moment with Harley Quinn towards Barbie. Like I could easily see that happening.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, let's make that happen. Yeah, let's make that movie.
Okay, so I got one more left, but I know you have two, so lay one on me.
Yes. Yeah. I got just one left here. So this is
my bad.
James Bond, Daniel Craig. He retires, right? He's an old guy, but he's still got a little vril left in him. He's fought many a battle. for the MI6 there for a long time. And he goes into witness protection, some sort of witness protection like program, because a lot of people want him dead, a lot of bad people, so he does that, but he gets a little bit bored of his suburbia lifestyle, so he assumes the identity of Benoit Blanc and begins solving crimes for the rich and famous, which leads them to Knives Out, and then a Glass Onion story, which I believe took place in Greece. You might be, I think that's where it was set.
That was the more recent one, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So
it was on one of the islands or something like that. Yeah,
I think so.
I can see
so that's what he does now. James Bond, very debonair. He can travel in many different circles and kind of pass. And this feels like this could work.
This is definitely your best one.
Little mini series here.
Yeah, I'm very much. I like this idea a lot. Like this, it's perfect. Like it makes. This is the one where actually the Andy Dwyer one with Ian Perkins is also like just seems perfect.
And what I liked about the Andy Dwyer one, if I could pat myself on the back, if you remember TGIF, did you ever watch that as a kid growing up? Is that the Friday night slate of television?
Was that with Jim Carrey?
No. It's like it was Boy Meets World. It was Sabrina the Teenage Witch. It was Full House or Family Matters and stuff like that. It was all kind of like a block of television for 3 hours on Friday night. Okay. But sometimes what they would do with like Family Matters and Step by Step and stuff, they would have these crossover episodes where they would lead into one after the other. So you know how Parks and Rec and The Office, I think, aired back to back. When they were both on television.
Huh.
So you could kind of have a crossover episode that leads right into it. Kind of like, I'm sure you might get this. Like, I'm sure The Arrow and The Flash had crossover episodes.
Yes.
Yeah. Kind of like that.
I'm just beside myself that I messed up what you just said with living color, which is.
I know what you mean now. Yeah.
I don't know how that happened. I don't know. I mean,
it's a variety show.
Sure.
And this has a variety of shows.
You're being too nice to me right now. So, well, I got one more, and then we'll talk. I want to talk about who's your favorites between the two, because I'm just trying to figure out. I have two that for you that I'm battling out with right now, but my last one is without question my strongest one, at least in my opinion. We'll see how you feel. But this is centered around none other than Bob Odenkirk. In the story of The Cable Guy, starring Jim Carrey, who's on the mind, we get to know Stephen Kovacs as he deals with a cable guy who takes things too far. Of course, we don't know Jim Carrey's real name in the movie. Throughout the bizarre tale, we meet Stephen's family, including one of his brothers, who goes unnamed in the credits, but he's played by Bob Odenkirk. And at least, but that's what at least Bob Odenkirk's brother would want you to believe, that he is sorry, I lost my train of thought there. 1 second. At least that's what Bob Odenkirk's brother would want you to believe. But in fact, this was a scam that went unnoticed because the cable guy posed a larger threat. That wasn't Stephen's brother. If it was, he would have said something to Stephen when the cable guy was flirting so much with Robin, who's played by Leslie Mann in the movie.
Yeah.
Or when the cable guy was forcing Stephen to play a raunchy game of Password with supposedly Bob Odenkirk's mother as well, right in front of him. Not weird at all. That man was a fraud. That man was Jimmy McGill, who you may also known as Saul Goodman. Quite frankly, this nonsense isn't at an end. McGill has been seen at mom and pop diners across the country, helping fathers lie to their children in exchange for their help in bolstering his new persona as a wealthy traveling businessman whose calling card is triples his best.
Oh wow! So that's a little three-way. You got a bunch of IPs kind of smashed in there.
But it's all there, Wes. It's very clear. I mean, I don't know.
I kind of forget a little bit about the cable guy here. So why would he be under a fake name with the cable guy?
Because he's such an underplayed character and all this. And so the scene that Bob Odenkirk is in is with Why am I blanking on Ferris Bueller's the actor's name? Ferris Bueller.
Oh yeah, Broderick. Yeah, Matthew.
Yeah,
Broderick.
Matthew. Yeah, okay. So he's there. They're with his parents. Leslie Mann is with them and everything. They're just having like a family dinner. And for some reason, Leslie Mann, who's been getting too cozy with the cable guy, invites him to come to the dinner. So all this is going on, and at this time, Steve, who's the main character, is like losing his mind and keeps going at the cable guy. And the cable guy's like just a fun-loving guy, but he definitely is too comfortable. But the family seems to love him. Look, not all brothers get along, don't get me wrong, but if this guy, if Bob Odenkirk is supposedly his brother, and maybe if he's his brother-in-law, okay, maybe I could get behind that. Like he doesn't want to say anything, not his place, whatever. But if that's his actual brother, what the fuck? Like, you're just gonna let that slide? Like, you're not gonna have your brothers back in any capacity, or at least say, "Hey, man, like we don't need to do this with my mom." That the weird game of password.
Okay.
So I don't buy any of that.
Okay, I think that's good. I like that. I like pulling in all 3 IPs here because movies don't have original ideas anymore. So this is where I think that we're kind of ahead of the curve on Hollywood right here.
Yeah, 100%.
5 to 10 years time, we are going to see this movie made.
Yes, 100%.
And we're gonna be the Leo DiCaprio app sitting on the couch, like, oh, that's us.
Between Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad, well, obviously more so with Better Call Saul, where you learn how much of a con man Jimmy has been over his life and continues to be. It's like looking at all of that and having an understanding. It's like he's the easiest one to do this with of anybody. Like all these have connective tissue, or like a line that can be drawn, bringing them from one to the other. But to me, this was like this thing on it, other than like where I butchered it in the middle, like this thing wrote itself. I didn't have to think about it.
This does kind of lend itself very nice. I agree with that. He's kind of like the man with no face.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he can just kind of blend in plain sight. Yeah, kind of sneak in, weasel his way around.
Yeah, and the thing is too, it's not like he has abilities. He just bounces around from place to place. And honestly, you could do that with Jim Carrey's Cable Guy. Like I did have an idea for that, and maybe I'll play that one another day. I am going to save that one for now, because I think it could be a little more fun. But I'm curious. Well, actually, no. Yeah, which one was your favorite of the 5? I guess you could count the Miles Teller one if you wanted, but
the Miles Teller one's pretty good. But the Anna Paquin one got me the most.
Ooh, okay.
I like the Anna Paquin one. Again, the location, the accent, that all works out really well. With an honorable mention, maybe to the Northman and the Northman.
Yeah, I thought of that as I was writing it, and I was like, I forgot that I remembered his name was Eric at the time, but I forgot his last name was Northman. Had I thought of it, then I might have been like, "Fuck it, I have to do it," because Wes loves that movie.
I think the Barbie one's good too. I like where both of our minds went to Barbie.
Yeah, I
nice, have a little crossover.
I'm really happy with how this turned out, honestly. But for me, my 2 favorites for you are the James Bond one and the it's really the Ann Perkins one. Like that's what's, because she's the connective tissue and all that.
Yeah.
And I think
that could be a good miniseries. Again, if they're doing like a Thursday crossover, you get an hour-long episode that goes from Parks and Rec to The Office like that. I'm here for it.
I think that's got to be my pick, because it seems so like it was on the same network. Why don't you just turn, like, people talk about, we're gonna reboot this and everything. How about you just have, like, I don't know, a 10-episode thing for Peacock? I mean, you want to bring in people to watch the cock. That's going to work.
I agree. I would love some, even if it was just like maybe not even the main characters, but you get some of the side characters who aren't doing anything.
But they are those people.
Yeah.
You just need one like somewhat important character from each show, and you're golden. Like if you did Tom Haverford and Dwight. I mean, I know Dwight's not it's not a side character, but I think that, and then the James Bond one makes perfect sense. Like those were my 1, 2 from your group, but I think
they're essentially the same person.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. But I think the one that gets me most excited is your Office Parks and Rec one.
Yeah, exactly. It's been a while since they've moved over to the cock. I haven't watched it as much. It's commercials. I don't have it for free.
There you go. Same.
So it's a real bummer there. All right, we're gonna have to bring back part 3. Triples
Yeah.
are best. You did mention that.
Ooh,
So we'll bring that back at another point in time. But I think this was pretty good. I feel good about this. We'll
I
give
do as
ourselves a
well.
pat on the back.
Look at that. Look at us.
But now it's time to get the tickets because the train is leaving the station. The discharge depot. Yeah.
Choo choo, bitches.
What'd you watch? What'd you do this weekend?
So we actually recently, like between this time, last episode and this one, we actually watched The Cable Guy, and honestly, I'd never seen it before.
Mhm.
Very, very strange movie.
It's a dark movie.
Oh yeah, I had like when I saw Bob Odenkirk, like you don't really know it's him. Like it's very like he looks quite different. Very fleeting moment where like you are able to really recognize him. Maybe a couple times you see him on screen, but when I saw that, I was like, wait a second, I have to use this, and I wrote it down on my phone like right away. Like this has to be part of my whole thing. It makes perfect sense. He was not on my short list until that time.
Okay.
Then we also, I was, as I said, I was with the in-laws. We were celebrating one of my nephew's birthdays,
Nice.
and we did some like murder mystery stuff and everything. So we dressed up and whatnot. But because the kids are now like into Clue, they just started like they got it for Christmas. So
Oh,
yeah.
that's fun. Okay.
So we also watched Clue this weekend, and the movie that I think it was like I think the favorite movie of either Rossi or Billy. I know
Billy D. Billy
it's
D.
Billy's.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
I hadn't seen it since I don't know. I was in maybe middle school, early high
I don't
school.
think I've seen it, to be honest with you.
Oh, really? It's
Yeah.
it's quite kooky. It's a lot of fun. It's like it's a good time. It's like you're making a movie out of a board game. They had fun with it.
Okay. All right there. I like that. I was watching season 1 of Chappelle's Show over the weekend, and what I noticed while you recognize Bob Odenkirk and the Cable Guy, I recognized Rashida Jones and Chappelle's Show.
Oh wow.
She's just like appears just kind of almost randomly in one sketch. She's like a side person in it. But yeah, pretty cool. But I watched Parenthood, the 1989 Steve Martin Rick Moranis movie. It's fun. It's all about parent. It's kind of like the original Cheaper by the Dozen. Cheaper by the Dozen is kind of like a reboot of Parenthood. All extended families, one's divorced, kids at different ages, parents dealing with kids at different ages, dealing with your in-laws and it's all the different drama that comes with being a parent. My dad loves that movie. He brought it up to us recently. I haven't watched it in years. I think it's a Ron Howard movie. But it's really good. It's really fun. It's on Netflix, like I said. So if you do want to go watch it, the one thing that really bothered me though, in like the first 5 minutes, they show a kid's ding-a-ling.
Jeez. Okay.
Like they just like the camera stays on it for a second. And it's like, oh, that's weird. Like, that's really weird. Wow. Even for 89, that seems like, I don't know. Jules and I looked at each other like, what the fuck is this?
See, when I watched Clue, because it was 1985 and it's PG, I was like, this is, I don't know if this is PG. Like, it obviously doesn't bother me, but it's like, I said that before I watched it too, because like, it's 1985 and it's PG. That does not mean, same thing as 1995 PG. That's for damn sure.
I don't know if this is PG or not, because it deals with like the older daughter having like premarital sex and taking photographs, and like the mother finds them, and then there's like a single mother who has a sex toy and that gets found at a family party, and like there's like all this like kind of more adult stuff. But again, I think the parameters for what was PG and PG-13 were different, but. Aside from the child nudity, again, very early in the movie, everything else pretty much holds up. Yeah, the thoughts on parenthood, you never really stop being a parent.
It's PG-13. Just check.
Oh, it is? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if it was back then, but it's what it at least says now when I give it a quick Google. But that's bizarre. And I was wondering, you're talking about all this too. I wonder, like Rick Moranis, like ripped right through the 80s, and then
he won the 80s, man. He was the man.
Yeah, I mean, Ghostbusters, Little Shop of Horrors, Spaceballs, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
That's the big one, yeah.
I mean, I mean, I guess he didn't need to do anything else afterwards. I don't
Yeah,
know.
and then he got like it was during COVID, when that like knockout game that was kind of like all over the internet where people were posting videos of like sucker punching strangers from behind. That was him. He got knocked out by on the streets of New York, like right outside his apartment building. Yeah, I think he had to go to the hospital.
Wow, I remember that now.
Hmm.
Oh, it was him. Oh, wow.
And I think actually now that like my
Hmm.
memory is kind of jogging here, I think that also coincided like just coincidentally with him being in I think Cricket Wireless, whatever Ryan Reynolds phone company is. He was in some commercial with them, and like that came out, and then like a week later he gets out on the streets and just like sucker punched.
Jeez, that's freaking brutal. I
Yeah,
didn't
kinda
know.
crazy.
Yeah, to say the least.
And it's weird. Rick Moranis plays like kind of like a boss. He's not like a jerk. He's got a smoking hot wife. He's like he kind of like talks down to her. You know, he doesn't play like the meek guy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's
Kind of
interesting.
weird.
I don't think I've ever heard of this movie, Parenthood. I don't think I really care to go watch it now either, though.
Yeah, no, I mean it's a good movie. Again, aside from
The weird part. Yeah.
the weird part in the beginning there. So, but yeah.
Yeah.
Ron Howard, Parenthood.
Yeah, there you go. All right. What do you know what we have for next week?
We got we had Argyle written down there. And it was also in parentheses not guaranteed.
Okay. Well, how do you feel about it going into it?
Well, I could be open to it. I could we could also do the Aquaman Death of the MCU or DCE universe.
Yeah, I still haven't because Aquaman's available on demand, but it's like $25, and it's like
I wasn't sure if it went down in the week's time, but
Mm.
so we have a bit of a free play. We could do Argyle as I think the first theater movie of the year for us.
yeah, I think yeah, why
Um,
not mix it up?
But the week after, I wrote this in here. I thought this would be kind of fun. Maybe we bring on someone like Billy D. He's a certified lover boy. Build a cinema of rom-com movies.
Oh, just rom-com, not even. Oh,
So you gotta draft your meet cute partners. Your best friend of your protagonist. The situation in which they meet.
oh, so we're
Choose the city.
so we're building a. We're not building a cinema. We're building a movie.
Right. But from the different movies.
Okay, got it. Okay, yep. That makes
Maybe
sense. Yeah.
maybe you want
I like
the
that.
pair guy and girl from When Harry Met Sally. Maybe you want Harry and Sally, but you want the best friend of I don't know, Julia Roberts, my best friend's wedding, whatever.
Yeah, I like this a
The
lot.
setting, could be anywhere, New York City.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this totally works. I'm down for that 100%. So yeah, why don't we plan for Argyle? We can you and I can convene later and see if that works scheduling wise. But yeah, otherwise I like it.
I think that should work for me. Yeah, and then again with that rom-com edition, it comes out on the 12th, February 12th. It's coming up fast. Hope you got your plans ready. First year of marriage for the Valentine's Day.
Oh yeah, I'll tell you what's going on off here.
Oh, okay. Well, until then though, we'll be back. Same bat time, same bat place.